Welcome in, everybody. We're going to do the Monday morning manna, and my background's a little different today. I'm actually working at the church this morning, and so we welcome you in. Appreciate you being with us for this week's edition of the Monday manna, and I know you're probably getting ready for some activities, Memorial Day activities. So first off, we say Happy Memorial Day, and we are remembering what this day is about, even in this devotion. Memorial Day, as Americans have known it, or have come to know it, began in the years immediately following the Civil War, but World War II, before World War II, most people knew it as Decoration Day. It was a day to decorate with flowers and flags the graves of the fallen soldiers and remember those who had given, as Lincoln beautifully said, the last full measure of devotion to defend their nation. And so it was a day to remember what the honored dead had died to defend. A century and a half has well passed since Lee surrendered to Grant at Appomattox, effectively ending a national nightmare that filled over 625,000 American graves with dead soldiers. Since then, other international nightmares have ravaged the world and put more than 650,000 additional Americans into war graves in Europe, North Africa, the Pacific Rim, Asia, and the Middle East. Memorial Day is a very important national moment. It is a day to do more than barbecue. It is right and wise to remember the great price that some have paid to preserve the historically unprecedented civil and religious freedoms that we Americans have the luxury to take largely for granted today. But the importance of Memorial Day is more for our future than it is for our past. It is crucial that we remember the nightmares and why they happened. We forget them at our own peril a lot of times. The future of the United States depends in large amount on how well that we can collectively as a nation remember and cherish what liberty really is and the terror of tyranny. There is a high cost to forgetting these things. In the words of George Santayana's famous aphorism, he said, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." Christians, of all people, we understand the crucial importance of remembering. Christians are memorial people because the gist of our faith depends upon remembering. Those who persevere into the future are those who remember the glorious past. That's why God has surrounded us with memorials. The Bible itself is a memorial. We meditate on it daily to remember. The Sabbath was a memorial to Israel's freedom from Egyptian slavery. And the church switched it to Sundays as a memorial to Christ's resurrection and our freedom from sin. Israel's great gathering feast days, those were nothing but memorials. And now every time a local church gathers together, every time the Lord's Supper is taken and communion is given, each baptism, every Christmas celebration, every Easter celebration, all of those things are memorials. Remembering God's past grace is necessary to fuel our faith in God's future grace for us. And so this makes the memory one of God's most profound, mysterious, and merciful gifts granted to us. God designed it to be a means of preserving grace for his people. We neglect it for our own demise if we're not careful. The future of the church, globally and locally, and of each Christian depends largely on how well that we remember the gospel of Jesus Christ, all of his precious and very great promises, the successes, the failures of church history. Scripture warns us that if we fail to remember, we will be condemned to submit again to sins and hell's enslavement. So these warnings are graces to help us to remember. So as we commemorate Memorial Day as Americans, let's do it with a gratitude today for the extraordinary common grace given to us when men and women laid their lives down for the sake of America's survival. And let us remember the past evils that we may not repeat them in the future. And as Christians, let's make every day, as long as it's called today, let's make every day a Memorial Day. Let us take care, Deuteronomy 6:12 says, lest we forget the Lord. Or as Paul writing to a young Timothy in 2 Timothy 2:8, let us remember Jesus Christ. Let us remember Jesus Christ. Many not only place flowers and flags on those who served for our country, but also take the time to show honor to family members' graves as well on a day like today. And so I want to challenge us, let's not be so busy participating in the picnics and other celebrations that we fail to remember the memorial in Memorial Day. So I'm going to give you just a few quick ways, and then we're going to end this today. of how you can honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Obviously, you can visit cemeteries, place flags or flowers on the graves of far fallen heroes, visit memorials that are set up around in our area. They're encouraging us to fly the U.S. Flag at half-staff until noon today, and then participate in maybe a national moment of remembrance at 3 p.m. today to pause and think about the true meaning of this day. Now, it's going to be a little harder to thank a veteran because I know our veterans' home is not open, but when it does reopen, hey, you can go in and let them know that you did not forget about them, even though we couldn't come and see them actually on the Memorial Day. And then also, you know, if you have a veteran that is not necessarily in the veteran's home that you see out and about, obviously maintain the social distancing, but keep that in mind. But also thank every veteran for their service. I know, again, this is about those that died, but I think it's very important for us to keep remembering those that are continuing to serve or have served as well. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Monday Manna for May the 25th. We had a great day at Harvest Church yesterday. My goodness, the presence of the Lord was so strong, and we had powerful services, and there should be some announcements coming up very, very soon from the church about where do we go from here, how do we go about it, and excited about the future of the church, as well as what God's going to do in the rest of this year and on. And, you know, it's one of the things that we talked about yesterday. Things come and go. Coronavirus, hopefully it's coming and going. You know, we want it out of here. But there's one thing that's going to stay, and that is the church. The church lives on. Have a great Monday. Have a great Memorial Day. God bless you.